Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. Today's the Patriotic Challenge, hosted by my sweet friend, Theresa of Theresa B DIY. So, this is a fundraiser for Fisher House Foundation. I'll fill you in on that a wee bit later. I have 3 quick, easy, and oh so cute projects for you. Let's get into it. I'm using this Slim Jim canister, which I keep my cookie cutters in, to make an adorable firecracker. You can use any canister or tube for this project. So first, before I cover it with scrapbook paper, I'll paint it with Ceramcoat white, including the lid, as a precaution really, because I don't want the red of the can to be visible through the paper. I've cut my paper to size, and I'm using Mod Podge to adhere it. But before I do that, I'll use some distressing ink to give the paper some grunge. I use a cosmetic sponge to apply the ink to the paper, focusing on the edges, but I do add to the body of the paper too. I've cut a circle from the star paper for the lid, and I'll ink that too. I'll coat the canister with Mod Podge in small areas, and on the striped paper also in sections. Of course, the stripes will be on bottom and the stars on top. I line it up with the bottom of the canister, and I'll burnish it until it's well adhered. And I'll move around the canister until it's completely covered. I'll add this small bit of paper to fill in the gap on the back. The canister was 13 inches and my paper is only 12, so I'll do my best to try to line up the pattern, but I'm not really going to worry about it too much since it's back. And now I'll repeat this with the star paper around the top. The papers will overlap in the center. That's intentional, just in case the application went wonky. I have that extra length of paper there, so it won't be as obvious. And I give it a complete coat of Mod Podge to seal it. I'll Mod Podge the circle to the lid right in the middle, and I'll give it a top coat as well. I'll wrap some red and white baker string around the canister where the 2 patterns meet. I'm using fabric glue because I had it in front of me, but hot glue would work too. I'll wrap it around 3 times and then I'll cut off the excess. I trim the circle on the lid with baker string too, just to give it a more finished look. I pop the lid back on and I cut an X in the lid with my X-Acto knife right in the center. I cut a wee bit of Dollar Tree Nautical Rope for the fuse, and I'll add a bit of ink to that too, dabbing it on with my sponge. I push it through the X I cut on the lid from the underside. I pop the lid back on, and I'll add more distressing ink to the lid. I'm going to paint my little wooden star with some Ceramcoat watermelon, 2 coats. I've cut the word boom with my silhouette, and I'll add that to my star. I've also cut little bursts to surround the boom. So cute. A bit of ink around the edges and a wee bit on the letters. I'll glue the star right to the center of the canister. And boom, we're done. Love it. Hope you like it too. I've cut out this number 4 from some scrap wood using my scroll saw. I've sanded it and I've wiped it clean. Now, I know you can pick up paper mache and probably even wood ones from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, just in case you don't have a scroll saw. So I'll paint all of the edges with Ceramcoat watermelon, including the inside of the 4, and I'll give it 2 coats. Once I finished the edges, I also painted the back with watermelon. But you know, that's optional. I'll add some white stripes to all the edges. And I'll base coat the front with 2 coats of Ceramcoat Navy. To add a little interest to the piece, I'll load my brush with navy, then I'll side load with Ocean Reef. Both are Ceramcoat colors. I'll stroke my brush on the plate to load the bristles. You can see how the colors blend where they meet on the brush. With the Ocean Reef side to the edge of my 4, I stroke along that edge so that the 2 colors are blending where they meet. I reload my brush as needed to keep that blended effect. And I'll do the same around the opening of the 4. I'll use my star stamp and Ceramcoat white to cover the front. Some of the stars will hang off the side, just however I feel. I'll ink the sides and edges just a wee bit to add some distressing. Before I move on, I'll spray it with clear matte sealer. And to finish it off, I'll wrap some baker string around the 4. I add a couple of dots of hot glue along the front to hold it in place. I wrap it around 3 times. And I'll glue it down in the back. And I cut off the excess. I make a simple shoestring bow. I glue that to the front. I add a little glue to the loops to keep them open. and I trim the tails. Really easy and really cute. For my third DIY, I cut a 1x2 to 5, 6, and 7 inch lengths. I'll give each 2 coats of watermelon, white, or ocean reef. I've cut stencils with my silhouette, and the red and white blocks will say Firecracker, and the blue will say Boom Boom Boom. I want to layer the stencils on the blue block, so I'll add 2 smaller booms on an angle. This took some patience, but I eventually managed, and I'll spare you the second struggle. I don't know if it's only me, but I always seem to have issues with these stencils. Yay, finally got them on. So I'll pounce on some Mod Podge over the stencils to keep the paint from seeping beneath the vinyl. This will keep the letters crisp. When the Mod Podge is dry, I'll pounce the booms first with white, then with watermelon. But since I have the white on the go, I'll do the lettering on the red block white as well. And on the white block, I'm doing the ocean reef. Here's where I come back in and pounce with watermelon on the blue block. Now I painted them white first so that the red stands out more and it's truer to its color. I remove the vinyl and I'll weed out the little pieces. Just touching up where I got a little white paint. Now I'll apply the center boom, which I just cut out of white vinyl. I lightly sand the edges of each block, and I'll add some distressing ink along those sanded edges. This will help tie all 3 of my projects together. Before I assemble, I'll wrap the ends of each block with baker string. I used red and white around the red and blue block, and blue and white around the white block. I'll use wood glue and a little hot glue to assemble the stack. I top it off with a shoestring bow. And of course, I do spray it with clear matte sealer. Done. This would be so cute on a tiered tray. Here's a look at all 3. I hope you liked today's project. As I mentioned, this playlist is a fundraiser for Fisher House Foundation. Fisher House builds comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay for free while a loved one is in the hospital. You'll find a donation link as well as links to Theresa's channel and the playlist in the description box. I also want to mention that Theresa will be giving away some gifts and she'll be auctioning off some of her beautiful projects. The proceeds from the auction will go directly to Fisher House. Theresa is not only a very talented lady, she is also an absolute sweetheart. Please be sure to check out her channel and the auction. You won't be disappointed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Best of luck, everyone. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Monica.